have to get across. Trust me.
Michael Bay's Transformers was the biggest movie of 2007, with audiences around the globe flocking to see the movie everyone else was talking about. A movie that spawned one of the biggest and most successful franchises of all time. However, with each installment, the reception only seeming to grow even more divided than the one that came before it. You either love them,
Who would you be without me, Prime? Time to find out.
or you hate them.
Oh God, please, God, please.
Yo, stop freaking out. Stop freaking out.
Shut this guy up,
Brother, this guy stinks!
And in terms of the 2007 movie, my love for it only seems to grow with each and every rewatch. This, to me, as someone whose life has basically evolved around Transformers for as long as I can remember, is a damn near perfect and fantastic first live-action adaptation of the Transformers, even despite its flaws and differences to other iterations of the IP. But why? Is it because of the movie's kick-ass action, its simplistic story, comedy, spectacle, or characters? Well, it's really down to a mix of all of that and more. The first movie follows a fairly straightforward story, unlike many of its sequels, with the ancient conflict between the heroic Autobots and the tyrant Decepticons finding its way to Earth in search of the Allspark, an ultimate power lost to the stars until now. And with its location being within the hands of Sam Witwicky, played excellently by Shia LaBeouf, his life is about to get a whole lot of crazy. The movie opens to a narration from Optimus Prime, the greatest character of all time, if I might add, essentially describing what will be the central MacGuffin to this movie, the Allspark, before we then transition into a title card and the true introduction of the film, and a masterful one at that could easily be condensed into its own video. This scene sees Blackout slowly descending into the military base, after refusing to identify himself to the humans, who soon learn the helicopter he's taken form as was destroyed months prior to that night. This is not only nervous to the characters, but also the audience as we anticipate what's next, which is his glorious transformation and decimation of the grounds. The military, the holders to some of the most violent weapons known to man, have just been eradicated within a matter of minutes, setting the stage that the Decepticons are a force humans, as they currently are, alone cannot defeat, making them instantly a terrifying and compelling threat, setting the stage for the movie to come. Now that the Decepticons have their stage set, it's time for the movie to set another one. And that's for Sam Witwicky. We don't instantly rush into another action set piece, because that can come later. Instead, the movie now takes its time away from that for us to become familiar and in ways relatable with Sam. It does this by showing us both his school life, family life, and social life. He's an outcast, and someone who wants to matter, wants to mean something to someone. And here, that someone is Megan Fox's Michaela, who definitely has her flaws, but overall is a character who feels right for Sam, and we see them bond over the course of the movie as she helps him and he helps her. We end up caring for these two and what it could progress into. Sam and Michaela's connection isn't the only connection we feel for in this movie though. The second and deep down main focus point for our love is what this movie is really all about. A boy and his car. Or in this case, a boy and his car who just so happens to be an alien, war-fighting and exiled transformer from another planet named Bumblebee. The movie excels in establishing this relationship between Bumblebee and Sam, right from the moment we meet them to right from the moment we leave them. After Sam learns that Bee isn't just some any old regular car, we have the pleasure of witnessing a great action sequence and brawl out between Bee and Barricade, one that ends with instantly injecting us into possibly the most appealing, artistic and breathtaking spectacle in all of cinematic history. The arrival to Earth sequence and the introduction of Optimus Prime in all his glory.
Samuel James Witwicky, descendant of Archibald Witwicky.
Yeah?
My name is Optimus Prime.
His voice riveting the scene, thanks to the iconic return of Peter Cullen as the character, as then we're introduced to this movie's Autobot cast of Ratchet.
The boy's pheromone levels suggest he wants to mate with the female.
Ironhide.
You feeling lucky, punk? Easy, Ironhide. Just kidding. I just wanted to show him my cannons.
Jazz.
Back a little bitches. My first lieutenant. Designation Jazz. This looks like a cool place to kick it.
And of course, Bumblebee.
So you're my guardian, huh?
This is where the plot truly starts to hit the pedal and kick into high-speed motion, with a look into the Cybertronian War and the reason as to why both factions have came to Earth. The Transformers movie here on out is in full-on throttle mode and has no intention of slowing down. From this point, we're given great fish out of water comedy, great character moments and interactions, whether they be meaningful and investing, or meaningless but a great bit of fun, an action sequence upon action sequence upon action sequence, including the awakening of a once stasis-locked and frozen Megatron.
Megatron.
And what a villain and presence he is in this movie. Cunning, evil, and both overtowering and powering, with one very simple goal in mind. Get the cube, create an army, and take over the universe. No negotiations, no calming down, no holding back. Just purely dreaming in tyranny. And it's thanks to Megatron, who wastes absolutely no time in ordering his Decepticons to attack the city and get the cube, that we are given one of the most chaotic and engaging best third act climaxes out of possibly this series and many others who go in competition to it, such as the MCU, the DCEU, Star Wars, and so much more. Helmed by a director who, if there's one thing he can bring to the table, it is total carnage and mayhem.
Awesome barbecue, awesome pool.
In the Battle of Mission City, there's lives in the balance, and the film does a great job at displaying and reminding us of that, with it bringing the city in which it takes place in to life, rather than leaving it to feel like a simple playset for which a battle takes place, like many other movies lately have fallen into the trap of doing. It does this with the consistent reactions and perspectives of its citizens taking place on screen, and does it with great effect. The movie also effectively brings in the military plot, which we've seen progress throughout this movie, also into great effect, with them now understanding more of the Transformers and being able to assist in the conflict and actually help win the day. Now, it's not only the humans in danger though, as this movie painfully sends the point across with the death of Jazz, a character who we haven't had much time to get acquainted with, but we know enough of to feel for his demise at the hands of Megatron. The beauty of which this final fight is produced and delivered is nothing shy of fascinating and downright awesome. To where you can't help but think, can it get any cooler? And fuck yeah it can. How? By bringing in the two leaders of both factions together for an epic smackdown throwdown, and beginning it with such a small yet chilling exchange that any Transformers fan will know what's about to go down.
Megatron Prime!
Optimus Prime and Megatron dueling it out in live action. Hell yeah, this movie rocks. Megatron's tactical in this fight and unwilling to go down easily, as I mentioned earlier on. He's got one goal in mind and has no intention of failing on it, using his weaponry to wear Optimus down long enough so that when they did go hand to hand, Megatron's just able to toss Prime around like he's any other Autobot, which we know he isn't.
You still fight for the weak. That is why you lose.
Megatron is a real threat here, and is only bested by his underestimation of Sam, who's been unwilling to surrender the cube to him throughout this whole final battle, until he finally does give it to him, but not exactly in the way Megatron wanted. Unprepared to take the full force of the All-Stark's power, it essentially suffocates him to his death.
Sam, put the cube in my chest now! Sam! No, Sam! You left me no choice, brother.
The movie ends with the Autobots reflecting on Jazz's death and their new home with Prime delivering what is going to become traditional for these films, the end of film speech.
I am Optimus Prime, and I send this message to any surviving Autobots taking refuge among the stars. We are here. We are waiting.
Transformers is as close as you can get to a masterclass of blockbuster storytelling. It's large scale, it's dramatic,
Hey man, I'm still a virgin.
and it's chaotic. Entertainment at its finest that truly immerses you in the world of the Transformers. And while it definitely has its flaws, such as one too many side plots, and some not so funny Michael Bay humour, which only gets worse as the series goes on by the way, its positives are just damn too powerful to even leave a slight little dent on the overall quality of the first live-action Transformers movie. I adore this movie. I love it with all my heart, and as of recording this, it has turned 15 years old, which is just insane to believe that I have literally grew up on this film and on this franchise, and it holds up just as well today as it did so many years ago. I'm interested, what do you guys think of the live-action Transformers movie? Be sure to leave that all down below in the comments. It'll be great to hear. I hope you love it as much as I do, but I understand not everyone does. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Bye.
Shed any light on the recent so-called alien activity here?
You know what? I think that if there was some sort of an alien infestation,
the government would be the first to let you know.
The government would let us know.
I mean, this is America.
Yeah, you know, that's how we know we live in a free land, because there's no secret. They'd say, hey, duck and cover.